Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We will be doing another Tarot 101. This time we are talking about the Justice card of Libra, thus the scales. It is the number 11, so we're moving into the second phase of the major arcana. So this does mean that we are moving towards completion and overall emotional or intellectual, financial, or well-being maturity. So we're moving into the second phase. A couple of things to point out. Like I said, it is the card of Libra, and it is about balance. I like to think of it as compromise as well. Um, well, and it's a card of karma. The sword is very blunted, and you can kind of see that in all of them. It's a shortened sword. She actually doesn't even have a sword. It is, again, blind karma. You know, what kind of goes around comes around, so everything is into equilibrium. You'll notice that most of these scales are empty. With the exception of this one. And we'll talk about this one in a minute. It is also a card not only of karmic balancing, it is a card of compromise. It's a card that can represent head and heart balance. So you'll notice that most of these women either have their eyes closed or are blindfolded or blinded in particular, or they're just staring off. They're not even looking at the scales. That is because it is systems made and decisions made completely free of emotion. You know, they're kind of just weighing the options, you know. But that brings us to this card. And I think this is a really interesting representation. One, she's on a particular foot. One, she's on the right foot. But she's actually weighing apples and oranges. And this is an interesting take on this. And this is why I wanted to talk about this particular version of the card. This is the mini tarot deck. The mini deck, the portable deck. It is a reminder, at least it's an interesting illustration, to compare. If you're going to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Even though things seem equal, that they seem like they are the same, they rarely are. And that this is a reminder that if you're going to look at this as a card, make sure that you're taking that into account. It is a card of compromise. What are you giving up? It is a card of balancing. So you're trying to make everybody happy. So that means not everybody will be 100% happy all the time. So that is an interesting take. And that's why I really, really like this particular little deck, is because it's a reminder. Are you really balancing apples to apples? Are you balancing oranges to oranges? Are they equal in every sense of the word? Even if you look at it and they look really similar, they may seem identical. They rarely are. So you do have to take a strong look at each thing as it is. So we're going to talk about the symbolism a little bit. We have the two pillars. This is the major arcana. This is the standard Rider-Waite deck. She's between two pillars, or the figure is between two pillows. It's usually described as Lady Justice. She's not fickle. It is a matter of which side has the truth, has the more value. Sword is blunted. She's not there to attack. She is only there to decide. So she has the two pillars of the two different, I like to think of them as heart and head. So she's between them, not leaning one side versus the other. And we've talked about swords in the past, even though this one is a little bit foreshortened, and you can kind of see this one's a bit broken. It is still very, very sharp. It is still double-edged. And it can cut. It's a little less deadly than the sword suits, particularly of the Queen of Swords. We know she has a very, very sharp tongue. This is the blunted sword. This is just about, I hate to say it again, justice, but it's about righting wrongs. If there's not enough in this little scale, well, there's too much in that one. Bringing into equilibrium, bringing into balance, bringing into karmic circles. What goes around comes around. If you tip the scales too much in one direction, it'll follow through on the other. Scales actually are a really well represented symbol when you look at medieval art and Renaissance art. It's a very easy symbol to understand, one side versus the other. You'll often see these in paintings of Judgment, the Last Judgment, which is a card we'll deal with a little bit later, but it's that kind of very similar energy. It's an accounting, it's a reckoning. So yeah, she's not paying any attention to who's doing what to the scale. It's just tipping one side versus the other. And I wanted to show you this one simply because it does have that snake of wisdom. They did, again, really foreshorten this sword. But this one, this is the Gilded Tarot with Ciro Marchetti. Has no sword at all, but these rays of light do really symbolize, they have that energy, that, like the swords in general, the suit of swords in general, cuts away the clouded thought, cuts away the doubt, cuts away the self negativity, cuts it all away. Like this is a laser beam. Just cuts it all away. This is a card of clarity, conciseness. It is a card of compromise, like we talked about. So everybody may not be getting exactly what they want, but everybody's getting a fair shake, which I think is the important part, that a lot of this gets overlooked by a lot of people. It is that sense of compromise. Yes, they're balanced out. Everybody has the same amount. Is it exactly what you want? Not often. And again, are you balancing apples to apples and oranges to oranges? That's, I don't know if I'm making that clear, but I wanted to at least touch on that a little bit. Most of these other scales, like I said, are empty. They're waiting for judgment. The empty scale. So yes, everything in equilibrium, everything in balance. One side does correct the other. So it is about karma, what kind of this idea of what goes around comes around. But I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. It is, like I said, the card of Libra. I think Libras get a bad rap. They're often characterized as indecisive and a bit flirty. I think they get a bad rap for that. Yes, it can be a bit indecisive. We'll take the scale as a representative. One grain too over, like 1 grain of rice too many, and it's going to come out of balance. So it is this kind of back and forth, head and heart balance. But again, you can take that indecisiveness as a charm, as an asset, or you can take it as a negative. I like to think of it as that beautiful dance of in between, and maybe that will bring us back to this little card here. She is kind of walking on this vine like a tightrope. So I'll leave it there, my friends. I will see you next time. I'm working on your August 2021 readings, so they'll be up on July 1st. I will see you then. Bye, family. Bye.